I'm gonna be honest, I was dreading this. So, Terror of the Vervoids. Terror of the Vervoids. Let's compare the titles of all the acts of this thing here. Mysterious Planet's a basic and yet kind of... It's a very safe title. Because, I don't know, you could kind of make any story out of that. Like, oh, you could make a mystery out of any planet. And it kind of gives you freedom. Mind Warp, though, albeit sounds like a really lame 80s comedy, still is interesting. Like, what? Mind warping? Oh no. Terror of the Vervoids sounds straight out of a 50s movie. And believe me, the creatures in question are... Oh boy. Now, I don't know how to explain this. These creatures, this is the thing that's always hanging up with me, is this episode is not incredibly good. I just didn't like it. I think my only real issue with it is there's potential to it. I could definitely imagine it being done, like taking these things, the idea of like because there's these seeds that can grow anywhere, and there's actually problems with it. Strange plant monsters. The first thing that I kind of thought of, and this is me being a nerd. Okay, so we kill Perry. The next story is a bit stupid because, okay, you kill a character who, in her first appearance, said she had an interest in botany. So, after you kill her, you do a plant monster story. That's kind of odd. That'd be like killing a jock and being attacked by the ghost of a football player, but completely different football player, but still, like, that's just kind of odd. That'd be like me dying and all of a sudden you're being attacked by a Doctor Who nerd. Like, it just doesn't make any goddamn sense. It just seems like you could have gotten mileage out of that if you said Perry, but whatever. No, I haven't showed you a picture of the Vervoids. Let me show you them. You may be wondering why their heads are censored. Well, hold on. Now, many of you are probably seeing something right now. And if you aren't, well then, I'm sorry, A, this joke has failed on you, and B, I guess I kind of envy you. Because that means you and everyone else, like me, you are not seeing what me and everyone else is seeing. Because if you were seeing what I'm seeing right now, you are basically seeing vagina plant monsters. This is the thing they're known for. That since it's a title creature, and this is the design of the title creature, it's the decision boggles my mind. Because I'm sorry, not once did anyone say, could we make this look less like a vagina? Like, who designed this? I stand by that this is one of the worst designs in the show's fucking history. As much as I'm sick of the Slovene designs, I think they look unbelievably god-awful. There's parts of them that work. Besides the fact that the masks themselves, structure-wise, look really good, I can't help but, as a straight male, want to lick it, and that's just... I don't want to do that. Okay, that might have been a little far, but yeah. Your main creature shouldn't be looking like it's about to spit out a baby. Actually, that'd make a creature... Well, a normal monster look scary, but... Yeah, no, I don't want to think of health class when I look at your sci-fi monster. That's just not right. It's safe to say, aside from, I think, a cameo in that awful charity special Dimensions in Time, we never see them again. And they just kind of, again, act like brainless zombies from the looks of it, and are the example of plant science gone horribly mad. Uh, and I'm just don't care. Beyond that. Now, an interesting thing I want to bring up is the fact that, like I mentioned in the previous review, the story takes place in the Doctor brings up a story in his future, and here we meet Mel, who, they don't establish, and they even come up with a clever way to get out of establishing how long she's with the Doctor. This being Mel's first story, we learn one important thing about her: she's fit. And that leads us to the first scene with her and the Doctor, of them in the TARDIS with him on an exercise bike. Which, admittedly, I honestly think is funny. It's not funny. Giving him carrot juice, having him complain about carrot juice, and having a trombone go wah wah wah. That happened. That's how desperate they were hoping you would laugh at that joke. They had to make sure the signal was there. God. It's also very, shockingly enough, the end of Trial makes you hate this scene a little bit more. And that's just simply because in case you guys didn't know, Colin Baker did not return the previous season to even do a regeneration. So basically, his last lines are literally carrot juice, carrot juice, carrot juice. And no, that's not him summoning a rejected idea from Tim Burton. Those are his last lines before he, trips and bumps his head on the TARDIS console slightly and regenerates into Sylvester McCoy. Yeah, the carrot juice scene was unfunny and is unintentionally added fuel to the flame that is Colin Baker's firing from the role. Though, it's strange. Now, the writers were done by, and they do go by this, Pip and Jane Baker. They're a married couple. And their most notable thing is they ended up creating a villain called the Ronnie in a story called The Mark of the Ronnie, which I'm told is terrible. After this, they would, of course, actually have a hand in writing the final act of Trial, but their next full story would be Time in the Ronnie, which I'm not bringing up because I don't feel like making myself cry. Now, the thing is, they get a bad rap, and I kind of even feel bad for them, because I'm sure they're nice people. Then I watched Terror of the Vervoids, and this was the story I've actually seen before. And all of my guilt seems to kind of go away. The concept of the Vervoids may have... Okay, here's the thing. The concept of the creatures, border on interesting. But their realization is awful. Not to mention, again, their design is terrible. And for some people, this isn't a very good thing, because there are people who hate Mel. This is her introductory story, companion, that, I'm going to be honest, her TV appearances leave much to be desired, even though I'm going to be very, very honest here. In this story, she does more in one story than Perry ever did. She actually had some useful things to add. She tried to, help, because part of the story does become a murder mystery, which is strange. You don't expect Terror of the Vervoids to become an Agatha Christie thing. And it's slightly better because, unlike in Horror of the Wasp, the Doctor's not pointing at everything that moves, claiming it's the murder. But, in a kind of a thing to their writing, the thing about Pip and Jane Baker is their writing is very weird. When their dialogue is filled with words that Stan Lee wouldn't want to put in because they sound too ridiculous. Like big words that just sound incredibly goofy. Like, maybe the Doctor would say them, but they just don't sound right. And also, we have writing that's just kind of like, here's a statement I'm going to say. Someone's been murdered. That means there's a murderer on board. And murderer means there's going to be murders. It's kind of that weird and repetitiveness to them. And that's the thing. Like, I keep feeling like so sorry for Bonnie Langford, because I've now seen some big finishes with her. They wrote her into a very good character, and she grew into a better actress. Because another thing about her is it's it's very obvious that she was a child actress, like she was, and she hasn't fully grown out in that, even though she is playing an adult character of sorts, even though she's a comically tiny person who played Peter Pan, who's kind of known for playing Peter Pan. And I just kind of feel bad for her, because I wanted to like her. I always want to like new companions, but she just doesn't give you much. The writers don't give her much to work with, and it also doesn't help that she screams. Oh boy, does she scream. There's literally apparently a time where the producer asked her if she could scream in the key of F, and it leads directly into the theme music. Yeah, they kind of abused her scream queen power. But also, what other notable things of dialogue are there? There's basically them like, this is Melody, known as Mel. Like, God, that's, I don't know. There's a lot to tackle here. There's the scientists who are kind of like, who created the plant stuff. They're just generic scientists. There are these guys who look like they got kicked out of Daft Punk called the Bulgarians, who play a role. One of them's secretly a guy in disguise spying on something, I think. That's the thing. Like, I've seen this twice now, and I kind of felt slightly uninterested. Because it's just very lackluster. The trial stuff's the big punch-up, because again, we get to see the Doctor yell at the Valyard again. But then it shifts to, oh no, you technically tried to kill a whole species, the Vervoids, and we're gonna try you for genocide. Like, or at least I think that's the thing. I paid very well attention to the first two. Vervoids just, God, and again, it's at a big disconnect. You can practically watch this stuff without the trial stuff. It has no influence, and what influence it has on the trial stuff, it's just kind of strange, and I just couldn't care enough in the end. I can't say skip it, because it's still important, but I just personally think I do think it is the weakest story. People are trying, Colin's trying. I'll admit it's cool to see Colin Baker try and solve a mystery. Mel gets along with the Doctor at least, but yeah, this one just didn't hold my attention. And a lot of Doctor Who stories have that ability. Here, it only really held my attention when the Vervoids show up and I was facepalming constantly. And when, maybe the Doctor's on screen and the trial stuff happened, but and plus there's a lot of forced bits at comedy that I don't think worked. Like the carrot juice scene and all this stuff. There's just so much here that's worth commenting on, but the thing is, it's not because it's just not interesting. It's very much, if they wrote it without trial stuff involved and all that, and did it in basically as its own story, I think the story would have fell flat.